what I would really like to share is again Kindred and like our heart behind what we're doing and how you can get involved. And what Kindred is really, it's a place where we're creating tools to help connect and equip the church, Christian entrepreneurs, and apostles for the specifically for the marketplace. The overall mission really, it's about supporting Christians as they begin God with something that's taking place in the world, in the marketplace, being able to kind of do something new in the industry that you are in, or doing something that perhaps goes against the grain of what may seem normal or a certain way of acting or living and operating within in an industry, and being able to do that in community with others. And specifically helping people to develop practically, but melding that with growing spiritually. It's important that we don't just, become experts in things, but that we're continually transforming our character, our hearts, our mindsets, to be able to allow those to grow alongside the work that we do, so that as our businesses grow, we have the character, we have the spirit to be able to manage that growth well, and live wholly through it as we bring the kingdom into the industries that we're in. And so the things that we really value, I guess, at Kindred is things like simplicity and keeping things simple. We love authenticity, and it's really about being genuine in your relationships within the community, as well as with those who you're working with, being able to communicate well and clearly about what you're doing, and collaborating together, because the church is really, it's all about relationship. It's all about connection. Our founding belief really is about having a relationship with Jesus. And so that kind of plays into everything that you do and everything that people do. So, if you want to learn a little bit more about Kindred, you can find us, over on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We have our tags there, as well as our website. So we've got bekindred.co, which is kind of our main website that hosts all of the information. And then we also have searchkindred.com, which I'll dig into a little bit more, but this is more specifically the directory where people can share their profile and information about what they're doing, and as well some contact information where you can reach out to me directly. And so I just want to begin by kind of sharing what we've established and kind of why we've established this. My wife and I were initially working on a completely different venture, that things did not quite turn out the way we had hoped they would. And we were really relying on God to kind of lead us into what the next season looked like in our lives. And we felt that he had really laid on our hearts both a burden for business, but also a burden for the church. We've served in so many different aspects of church, whether that's media, kids, youth, missions, whatever it might be. We've done a little bit of everything, and served in so many different styles and denominations of church. And so through that, one of the things we really noticed was kind of like the disconnect between denominations. And, in Acts, we see a church that often is called to work and live as one, and to be able to support each other through that. And that is not something that we feel like the Western church has been doing particularly well over the last lot of years, but we see that God is slowly changing and transforming the dynamic. And so with things like Stronger Network, we see that that's really shifting. We see so many different denominations and boundaries and things like that being crossed, and people coming together to be able to make a difference in the kingdom. And that's really like our goal and hope is to do that as well. And so we've had a real like desperation to see that transformation and the power of the kingdom coming to work in the marketplace, not just in the lives of Christians and within our churches, but actually seeing that rooted and taking place outside in the world as well, and beginning to bridge those gaps. And not only that, but actually seeing a church that is also thriving. We can easily be rocked by the economy of the world around us, but we also know that we have a kingdom that we live under, and we can live under this sort of like this like kingdom economy and be able to thrive together as living as one church. And so through that, we really felt like God has kind of downloaded it to us, this sort of like 3-part approach that we're working on, which comes in the form of a directory, as well as an active community, and then someday developing apostolic workspace hubs for training and resourcing. So just before we take into that, Um, Part of the reason we've moved into this, I don't know how many people may know about this, but there's this idea of something called the spheres of influence. Some people may know it better as like the Seven Mountain Mandate, and it's really about the church getting in, not conquering these mountains per se, but being a space of influence in family, arts and entertainment, business, religion, politics, education, media, because these things kind of underpin society and how it operates. And, we see that the church, we can look back throughout time and see how the church so heavily influenced music, influenced politics, influenced art, like everything about society was so heavily influenced by the church. But it seems that we've kind of drifted away from the space that we used to have. And we see that there's a shift that seems like it's taking place again, where we're beginning to move back into places of influence and being able to affect the world around us for the kingdom. So looking more specifically at the different parts that we're doing within Kindred, we firstly, like I mentioned, have the directory, and you can find this at searchkindred.com. The idea really is that it's just like a simple directory to help connect Christians in business, charity, politics, church leaders with those who actually need them. We had this moment in time with our previous venture where we were really desperate to find other Christians to get connected with, especially someone who could mentor us through the process. We struggled to find someone that was Christian, had someone who wasn't. They were an incredible person. However, there was definitely moments where we were butting heads because our values weren't the same. We were making decisions that didn't necessarily make sense to them. They wanted us to do things that didn't make sense to us based on our beliefs. And so we feel like having something specific like this for the church to be able to share their skills, their knowledge, their abilities with others who are Christians just makes it so much easier to be able to create a thriving church, because you're connected with people who believe the same as you and share those values. And this is just a good space for people to be able to be found and be seen and create, again, a thriving church. The second thing we're working on is an active community. And so this is actually something we're actually just about to launch. We're in these beginning stages, the launching stages for this. Everything's kind of ready to go and join within the next about 2 weeks. And the idea behind this is launching a readying community of entrepreneurs that want to be equipped and connected with one another. And even more specifically, they want to meld both the understanding of the spiritual as well as the practical side of business, that they're developing their inner self and their person. They're developing their walk with Christ. They're learning from the Holy Spirit and being led through the wisdom of God in the actions that they're taking in their business, but doing that in community with others. And so just as like the fivefold ministry is there to help support the church to develop in this way, we're aiming to do the same thing more specifically with people and helping them to work that into their own industry. So in this community, you can expect things like connection, practical tips, leadership support, prayer, faith building opportunities. And in that sense, really being able to create a very holistic way of looking at yourself personally as a leader, and even in what you're doing in business. Lastly, we have our apostolic hub workplaces. Now, this is something that is very much on the horizon. It's kind of like a big dream that we have, but it's creating like a dedicated workspace for believers to gather in community, a place where you can go and be in a safe environment to do the work that God has called you to do, a place where there's times of ministry, mentoring, worship, prayer to take place physically alongside the work that you are doing. And through that, as you're being built up, being encouraged and equipped, then being sent back into the world under God's grace to complete the calling that he has for you and the work that you are doing in your own business, charity, or whatever that may look like for you. And so more specifically, how you can actually get involved in this, is specifically the directory is mentioned, where you can visit searchkindred.com, create a profile. It takes like less than 5 minutes, super simple. And it's an easy way just to get into a niche platform where you kind of know who will already be searching for you or who you are searching for. Because these people will have the services that you need, but they'll also understand your values. And I think that's key, is really being able to connect with people, understand your values and the reasons why you're searching for their services. And also you can get involved in the community. This is something where you can send a message to us directly through one of our social channels. You can send an email directly to me and I can get you an invite link out. Because we're ready to go on that, and we're super excited to be able to like work in a community with one another and be in a very active community where things are taking place daily. Yes, and so I do also want to add in just a little shout out, because one of the things we are doing is kind of working together with other organizations, and being able to collaborate with others is so key, especially in this day and age. And so I've been connecting with James Hamlin, who leads Christians in tech and media. And this is a very practical network of Christians, of course, who are based in like the tech world, whether that's in charity, in business, doing freelance work, and who are in media. And this is really being able to develop like work-based connections that are very practical to support one another and collaborate again. And we're actually launching our first online meetup on Friday, January 19th at 11 a.m. And that's going to go into being regular in-person events as well as online events. And this is, again, just a great way for Christians who are more focused in that kind of like tech and media space to be able to get connected and work with others through that. And so if you want to get involved, please do let me know. We would love to have you there and be able to support you through your journey.